Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. On this video, I'm going to talk about the useReducer in a React. So useReducer is one of the hook that has been uh, in React. So useReducer is a similarly like use state, but only the difference is useReducer can use the complex state of logic. If you have a complex state of logic in your applications, then you could use a useReducer instead of use state. And use reducer also help you to optimize the performance of the component. And here is a little example it's been defined, which I'm going to create, and I'm going to create on my React applications here on this video. So here my React applications is running on a localhost 3000, and this is my React applications project, which is called React Tools. So here basically I have the one folder called component, and I have the component has called button has been created already. So this is my app and this is my template which is coming when I build with the React CLI. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this and I'm just going to type test here. Once I do type test, it's going to show in the bottom in the middle here. Okay. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the use reducer to create a couple of the state, couple of the use reducer state and dispatch function. So basically, to use a use reducer, you need to use a use reducer from React. So I need to import from React. The first thing step is once I import from React, so now reducer will take a three of the parameters here. The first one is a reducer, and second one is what the initial state is going to be, and the third one is what the initial action is going to be performed. I don't want the third one; it's optional. But in a state, I need to provide what my initial state will be. And I'm gonna use this as my number. So I'm gonna make as increment and decrement number. So my initial state would be 0. So once I have initial state would be 0, I need to define what is a reducer is. You can also create another file and you can also export a reducer if you like, or I will create directly here. So reducer is basically nothing, it's just a function, that's all, and which take a two parameter. The first parameter is going to be a state and second parameter is going to be action. So this is going to be on my the current state, which is a 0, and here the action that is going to be performed, and this action is triggering from dispatch functions. In dispatch functions we can provide a multiple parameters, and based on this action will be performed and it will change the state and it will reflect it here. That's how the reducer work. So now instead of the test, so I'll just remove the test and I will create something called ads 3 here, and I will write it here as my state, current state, which is 0 right here, big 0. And here I will call the button component which I created before, so I'll just call my button component here, button. I need to import this button where it's coming from, so I will import this button is coming from import here, right here. So I will write it here, import button from the component which I have there. It has nothing, it's just written a big button here. So here in the button now, I'm going to create a two button here, and this button is going to be increment button, and another button is going to be decrement. Okay, and I will leave it here as like uh, for now. So this is my state. So now here I can provide my dispatch function on button. So I'll provide a dispatch here. So now I can get a dispatch as a props in my button. So I can get a props here. And in the props, I have a dispatch which I define here. So I can get like this props. So this dispatch function will be triggered. So on whenever the button is clicked, then I'm gonna use this dispatch function here. Dispatch. This is going to be a function. I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna put it here. Now the dispatch is not doing anything. It's just called the dispatch function, which is here. If I click it, yeah, it might broke, or it may not broke, but it doesn't know what to do. if I call dispatch function. This guy doesn't even know what to do. So now whenever dispatch, which is dispatch will be called, then my action will perform. So here we can write if and else, but the standard way how this is work is using a switch. In an action here, we can give a type, and I'm going to show you what is the type is going to be. And here, if the type is called increment, then we can perform whatever that is going to be happen here. The same with it, if the case is decrement, then I'm going to perform whatever is going to be here. And if it's default, then just uh, throw, or you can provide whatever you want to be in here as well, right? No need a break here, default. So whenever the increment is happen, then what we need is we need to the state initial state is 0, and we need to increase by 1. All right, that is going to be. So here we can return whenever it break, we can return our state. What is a new state is going to be? A new state is state plus 1. So here we call the state, and state will basically we will increment plus 1. And whenever the decrement will happen, then we're gonna return. We don't want to break here at all. We can return directly. We can return decrement the state by 1. If nothing has happened, then we just return our state. Oh, return our state. Yep. Okay. So now whenever dispatch function will happen, if I click it now, nothing will happen. Of course, it's gonna broke because it's looking for the action. So now I'm gonna show you what my action is going to be when I clock dispatch. If I print a console log action, if I click dispatch, then it's undefined. The action is not even defined at all because here I haven't passed anything here. So here I need to pass the type. What's my type is going to be? So if my type is an increment, then it's gonna show me an increment there. I write the increment, and if I click it here, it shows me an increment right here. So basically, dispatch will call the action here. This is going to be my action object. And in action object, it just take the type. And the type is basically I provide as an increment. So in dispatch, we provide in here the object of the action. And this is the action is going to be performed here. So I put as a decrement here. So if I click it now, it's going to increment. And if I click a decrement, it's going to decrement my value. So this is how the Redux work. Here is the reducer. We provide the function, basically nothing, it's just a function, that's all. 2 parameter. It takes state and action. Action is basically nothing, it just have an object. This is actually have a type called type. There is another action property could be a payload. If I provide here a data payload, then this is going to be a type of the object. If my payload will be 10, then it's going to be increment plus 10. If I do a decrement, then it's going to be a decrement plus minus 10. So I'm going to provide a payload here. So once I provide a payload, then I can able to get the data using the action.payload here. So this is going to be my 10. So 10 plus 1, which is 11, is stated 0, so it's going to be 11 here. It doesn't save, it doesn't, it just concatenate because this two will count, and this is as a string, so it's because it's just concatenate my value. It doesn't change to the integer. If I change to the parse integer or parse float, doesn't even matter. I'm going to change to integers. Now it's going to be 11 instead of 110. Otherwise, it thought that it's a string. So similarly with this, I can also able to get a payload using that decrement. So if I do a decrement, it's going to be of course the 10 plus or minus 1 is 9, minus 0 is this. So it's going to be like this. So this is how we can achieve a data using this dispatch function on the action. And I'm going to remove this, and we can create a reducer instead of use state for our complex logic here. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you guys learned something new. If you guys like my videos, please do subscribe and let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm gonna put this code on a GitHub, and that's all for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.